When I was in Lemmy, we taught this young man. He was 17. And he came to church with his friend, and he'd come like 3 or 4 times. And we tried to set up with his friend to teach him, and every time we went to his friend's house, he wasn't there. So we were just kind of like, what's going on? And then there was a member, and he pulled us aside one Sunday. He said, "Sisters, like, is this your area?" And we said, "Yeah, like that's her work." He's like, "Okay, this kid, he's going to be at my house tomorrow afternoon, and you're going to come teach him." Like, all right, cool. You know, like we've been trying to set up these appointments for weeks now, and it just wasn't working out. So that was actually Monday. He set it up for the next day, and it was PD, but we were like, whatever, like an appointment, we're gonna go. And so we taught him the first lesson, and he was really open and he wanted to learn. So we ended up teaching him the next day as well. And then we taught him one more time that week. And I was just feeling that it was going to work out for him to be baptized that week. I was like, that's kind of crazy, because we just started teaching him on Monday, but he'd already been to church for a few weeks, so he could be baptized if that's what he wanted. And so we were teaching him on Thursday, or I guess, no, it was Friday. And so I was feeling that it was gonna work out for him to be baptized. But I was a little bit nervous because we hadn't been teaching him for that long. And so we taught him about baptism, and we taught, about the gospel. And my companion asked him, she was like, do you want this in your life? And he was like, yeah, I do. And so I was going to ask him if he wanted to be baptized on Sunday, because I figured, okay, we'll give him one more day, and we can do it after church. And as I was asking him, I was like, okay, we're going to have a baptismal service on Saturday. And it just kind of came out of my mouth, Saturday. And I was like, wait. And I stopped and was like, well, if Saturday came out of my mouth, and there must be some purpose for that. And so I was like, yeah, tomorrow. And I was like, do you want to be baptized tomorrow? And he was like, yeah. And so he was baptized. We started teaching him on Monday, and he was baptized on Saturday. And it was just incredible to see how prepared he was to receive the gospel. And he's a pretty incredible kid. He's 17, and we would teach him, and he'd talk about, wanting to hold the priesthood and wanting to go on a mission, and just, again, to see those changes that the gospel makes in those people's lives. It was pretty incredible. It was P-Day, and we were cleaning the bathroom, and our sink was a little bit clogged. And so my companion was trying to figure it out. And so she was looking at the pipes under the sink, and I was like, we don't really know. I was like, I didn't want to touch anything, because I was like, I don't want to know I'm going to break something. I don't know what to do. So she was looking at it, and something happened, and one of the pipes broke, and all of this water just started gushing into our house. And luckily there were 4 of us there, so that we could, and so we're trying to keep the water in the bathroom. So in Brazil, they have, most of the bathrooms were tile floors, and then in the shower there's a drain, but it wasn't like a lot of the bathrooms here where there's a big lip, and then there's the shower the water only stays there. It's usually just the whole bathroom is tile, and then there's just a little part. And so if the water gets out, it's not that big of a deal, because they have these little squeegee things that you just push the water back into the drain. So we were trying to keep the water in the bathroom, and we had to go get the bishop who lived upstairs, and we're like, Bishop, the water's we tried to turn it off, and it just wasn't turning off, and it was pretty insane. And so me and another sister went and got the bishop from his house, and he came down and was trying to fix it. And by the time we got back, the whole apartment was flooded, the whole bathroom and the front room. We were just and so that was definitely an experience. Little things like that, where it was I don't know how this stuff works. So that was definitely one thing that was a little bit crazy.